Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos. In this video, I'm going to do something that I've never done before, interviews. At LA Comic Con this past weekend, I had access to comic book creators that were just sitting there all day, every day, and sometimes by themselves. And I thought, why don't I ask them if they would be willing to let me record an interview with them for my YouTube channel? And I was honored that all of them said yes. So I tried to be very, very respectful of their time and have these short interviews with them. And now I'm going to share the 3 interviews that I did with you. In addition, in these videos, I'm going to start off by telling a little story about some interactions that I had with celebrities at the convention that I did not record on camera. The first one of those that I want to mention is when I went and talked to Ryan Stegman and Donnie Cates. Their line was always there, but it wasn't too long at one point, so I decided to jump in and I was going to say hi, even though I didn't have anything for them to sign. I went up to the front and I showed them a picture of this, and I said, I don't have anything for you guys to sign today, and I'm actually pretty well taken care of in the signature department from the 2 of you. So thank you for this, and it's nice to meet you. In addition, I showed Donnie and Ryan this. This is original art done by Donnie Cates and Megan Hutchinson Cates, his wife, that I have. And Donnie was really excited to see this. I mean, this is a one of one. And Ryan was interested in seeing some of the art that Donnie and Megan worked on together. Donnie explained that Megan kind of laid out where the eyes and the mouth and kind of the proportions would be. And then Donnie went over it and did a lot of this artwork. So this is a really nice thing to be able to show them hey, I'm the one that owns this original piece of art from the both of you, and I'm very happy about it. In addition, when I talked to them, I told them both that I was really looking forward to Vanish, which, for those of you who don't know, Vanish is a creator-owned comic book that Ryan Stegman and Donnie Cates are doing together. Yeah, they're putting it out digitally on their Substack, and then at some point they are going to be putting it out in physical form. When I mentioned Vanish, Ryan Stegman, he fist pumped. He was super excited about that because he is really excited about having a creator-owned comic book. I've heard him mention it several times. So it's one of his things that he's most excited about in his career right now. And I'm excited about it too. It seems like it could be pretty cool. And then I turned to Donnie and I told Donnie how much I appreciate all the work he does and what a fan I am of his, and that his stuff gives me fist-pumping moments where I'm just like, oh, these moments in his comic books are so awesome and so exciting that they make his comic books just a joy to read and just always so entertaining. And both of them were so generous, so appreciative, so respectful. They really appreciated the fact that I took the time to stop by just to say hello and let them know what big fans I am of both of them. And I think they're both tremendous. So it was a fantastic interaction. I was really glad that I took the time to do it. They were just great. All right, let's move on to the main part of this video, which is my interview with David Mack. Yes, David Mack was at the convention, and this, I've never done interviews before, and he was the first person that I was going to interview. So when you watch this interview, you could probably get a sense of my nervousness and my excitement, but he was great. I had so many things that I wanted to talk to him about. But let's just put that aside for now. Without any further ado, here is my interview with David Mack. All right, so this phenomenal art is all the introduction you need. Once you see this art, you know exactly who it belongs to, and we have the man right here, David Mack. Hi, David. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me. I really, really appreciate it. Your art is, I'm a big, big fan of your art. In my opinion, like I said, people see your art and they immediately know it's done by you. It's completely unique and completely incredible. Are you working exclusively in watercolors, or is it kind of more of a mixed medium?
A lot of the covers I do recently, people ask me to do like watercolor covers for it, but I use a variety of media on stuff. This one for Neil Gaiman's American Gods, the figure is in watercolor and the background's acrylic on canvas.
Okay.
And so sometimes I'll show you some other examples.
Yeah.
This is one of my art books. This has a pretty wide array of different media, and so there's a certain amount of collage and different kinds of paints.
Yeah, I noticed that it seems like you do a bit of kind of like layered art as well. I saw somebody that had original art of yours, and it seemed like it was in different sections.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Or this was like a little personal story I wrote. I just did it like directly in, brush and ink. And sometimes I use, this is like a little 4-page story. I use this as an example, like when I'm teaching, of people to just start with really small stories, and it just kind of uses graphic images for the people who don't feel like, it's a good example to show people storytelling when they don't feel like they're, especially evolved in drawing in like a comic book style or something. I just try to show them like, you can still communicate something emotional just with, shapes or stick figures.
Right.
Even. So yeah, I like using a variety of styles and a variety of different media, just really based on, this is a little personal 8-page story that I did.
Oh, cool.
Really just based on what I think that particular story calls for. These are like a lot of brush and ink drawings from life.
Yeah.
I try to do like some life drawings, every week if I can. But yeah, I start with the story first, and then I try to think like, what's the best visual way to communicate that particular story? Like when I'm a writer, the same kind of questions I would ask when I'm writing. Like, I know even if you know what the story is, how is it most powerfully told? Is it most powerfully told in first person or third person? Or even if you know what the order is it better told in a different order?
Yeah, that's something I'm curious about, is what is most important as an artist to focus on in order to make sure you're conveying the story.
Yeah, I just try to ask those kind of same questions visually. Like, what kind of style is this? Is this scene told? Is it better to use a different medium for this scene versus the scene before it, or a different set of colors or tones? Or, probably a good example of that is this new Creator
Yes, I was
series.
just going to start talking to you about this. I thought this is a good segue to this.
Okay.
Because the things you're talking about, I'm sure, are playing importantly you're directing the HBO Max series, the animated series of Cover, right?
Yeah, and Brian Bendis is writing it,
Yeah, that's so great that they brought you guys on directly to work on there. Is this something you've done before, or directing animated?
Yeah, I did. I directed a certain amount of music videos.
Okay.
Have you heard of Dashboard Confessional?
Yes.
They're like their newest music video. You could find it on YouTube.
Okay.
It's called We Fight. And several of Amanda Palmer's music videos, and one for Neil Gaiman, and one for Pen America. But yeah, this will be the first time I'm doing like a TV series.
Congratulations.
So
for those that don't
exciting.
know what Cover is about, would you mind telling them very quickly what Cover's all about?
Okay, yeah. A lot of people don't know this probably. I travel for the U.S. State Department, so most of the year I'm overseas in other countries working with the U.S. embassies. And I've been doing that for quite a bit of time, a couple of years in North Africa and a few years in the former Soviet areas and in Asia. And I would tell Brian about some of my experiences. And there was an event in Libya that I was telling him about. And we were focused on another project we were working on together. And he said, hey, this project we were doing, let's do that later. Like what you're telling me now, let's do a comic based on that. And that became sort of the origin of this book called Cover. So we started publishing it through DC Comics, and last year this was nominated for 3 Eisner Awards, including Best Graphic Novel of the Year. And HBO Max sold it, and we did the deal for him as a writer and me as a director. So we've been working on that all year, the new TV series, but also we're working on a brand new series of this. It'll come out from Dark Horse Comics.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, if anybody gets the collection of this, there's There's an introduction in the front that gives like some background of the origin of it. But this will use a variety of different art approaches. You know, there's some stories inside the stories that I'll contrast the style and coloring of those versus the surface story, and I might, you know, use different contrasting colors at different, you know, points for certain reasons.
Yeah, is the animation for the show gonna match the art?
Yeah,
Excellent.
It's gonna reflect that, exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah, there's a style that's like this, and then like sort of like a watercolor style, you know, more like this kind of thing. But then the style that I'm very happy, like, is both in the book and in the show, is there's this book inside this book that the main character draws that has this sort of like brush and ink quality style to it. But these are some other stories inside the book. But yeah, this is like this is a comic book inside the comic book, and so the style of there's a very similar style to this in the animation.
Okay.
Well.
Very cool. Do you have a release date for this yet?
No, that would be up to them to, you know, to give dates and stuff. Oh, and I kind of use, like, I don't know if people know this, I did the main titles for the film Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Okay.
So at the end of the film, there's all these like bold black and white shapes. I do all those drawings.
Oh, very cool.
So there's a section of this story where I use that similar style that I used in the film.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, of course.
Yeah, so it's sort of a play on that with when there's another book that's done in that style in this story.
Very cool. I have one more question,
Yeah.
one more thing I want to ask you about. You and Joe Quesada created Echo, correct?
Well, I was writing Kabuki. I showed my Kabuki. Kabuki is this book I write and draw, like my earliest stuff that I wrote and draw. And I met Joe Quesada at a convention in 1995, and I gave him my Kabuki book. And he was very encouraging. He called me back. You know, this was before email and internet. So he called me and said, you know, I really like your writing this story. I would love for us to work together on a project someday. And at the time, he had a publishing company called Event Comics, where he published his creator-owned stuff. And we talked about collaborating on a couple of things there, and it didn't work out. And then a couple years later, he called me and said, you know, he was going to be taking over 4 books at Marvel, and Daredevil was going to be one of them. And at the time, he asked me if I wanted to write and draw one of them myself with a Marvel character. And I told him I just started a brand new Kabuki series at Image Comics. This was like 1997. And you know, I was writing and drawing that, and I couldn't write and draw, you know, another book at the same time. And so he goes, hey, well, what about if you write it, and you know, and then Joe said he would draw it, like we talked about doing for years. And so that became Daredevil. So I took over Daredevil as writer right after Kevin Smith. And when I was writing it, I asked Joe, like, you know, I'm going to try to, you know, write for what I perceive as your strengths as an artist, but is there anything in particular you want me to write the story about? And he goes, write whatever story you want. He goes, I just ask you one thing, and that's that you bring a brand new character to the story. Because, you know, he said a lot of, you know, the Kingpin's kind of borrowed from Spider-Man, and people sort of use the same characters over and over for Daredevil. And they always want to use, you know, Bullseye, Elektra, and Kingpin over and over and over. And he goes, you know, I want you to create like a brand new character that's, you know, uniquely comes from Daredevil comics. And that became Echo, you know.
That's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no, and it must be really exciting because we're seeing a lot of Echo these days. I mean, she's got the Phoenix Force now in the comic books, which I think is amazing, right? And
I haven't read any of those.
Oh, really?
So I can't comment on them. So
yeah, they did this whole thing with the Phoenix Force. Like,
yeah,
they had
I've seen the images.
The whole tournament. Now she's got the Phoenix Force.
Good? Is it a good story?
I read the Avengers story where they had the kind of like tournament of all the heroes fighting each other, because I find that kind of stuff really entertaining. And like, some people really, really wanted it, and some people were like,
wow.
we're just being messed with. I don't want to.
Oh,
this is just I don't like being manipulated like this.
So is that what happens? Someone manipulated the heroes into fighting, and like the winner gets
the Phoenix Force.
Wow,
like you know, people like Namor wanted the Phoenix Force. He's like, I want it, and other people were, but they all got kind of sucked into this void world where they would just get dumped into like fights against each other because the Phoenix Force was like, who's gonna earn me? And ultimately Echo was the one who earned the Phoenix Force,
That's
which is pretty cool.
On the Phoenix, I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah. So. And then in addition, of course, there's the MCU television show that's coming out, which is
the Echo's in the new Hawkeye series that's out right now.
Okay,
3 episodes out at this moment. I saw all 3. I was very impressed.
Yeah,
and the actress who portrays her did an incredible job.
Yes.
Cool.
Really, I haven't seen the third one yet. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, the third one is... Yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like exact scenes and dialogue and sentences that I wrote in those early books are in the third one.
That's amazing.
They translated it very well, like very economically. They were very smart, like about what they left out and what they included, and they didn't over-talk it, and I was like really happy with how they communicated it.
Very cool.
And the actress is awesome. You know, the character is deaf and indigenous. The actress is deaf and indigenous.
Perfect.
And you might have heard that they announced that she'll get her own Echo show.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you talking to me.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you got it.
Well, there it was. My interview with David Mack. Listen, I could have talked to him for a long time. If it seemed like I was a little bit rushed in that interview, it's because he talked to me for over 10 minutes, as you just witnessed yourself. And I told him I was going to talk to him for about 3 or 5 minutes. But he was very generous with his time, very generous with the information that he was providing. I would have loved to have continued talking to him for much longer. But I knew I had to wrap it up because he had people kind of starting to congregate around his table who wanted to talk to him about his art and his books and the stuff as well. While I was there, I had him sign a few things for me. I picked up this trade paperback of Cover. He actually signed it for me as well, which was great. Right just inside here. Where did he sign? Oh, right down here. So he signed this for me. I was really excited about that. I'm excited. I haven't read this yet. I'm looking forward to checking it out. And something I would say is that, I mean, this is happening. This is going to be on HBO Max. And there is more, like he said in the interview, there is more of Cover to come. And you can get a 9/8 of the first issue of Cover. Right now, there's one sitting on eBay for $75. That's a pretty good deal for a first issue 9/8 of a property that is not only optioned, but it's happening. It's in the works. It's going to be on our television screens. So I'm definitely keeping my eye out for the opportunity to pick up potentially a 9/8 copy of Cover #1. And they don't come up very often, by the way. I've been looking on eBay and they just, they don't pop up. So they're fairly rare and the price is right. So if you're looking for something to spec on, you might consider specking on 9/8 copies of Cover #1. In addition, I had him sign here. This is the Department of Truth Volume 1 trade paperback that I went ahead and had James Tynion IV sign here a couple months ago when I met him. And then I went ahead and have David Mack add his signature to this as well. He had never seen this cover in the trade paperback form, so he was kind of tickled about that as well. And I am pretty excited to have this double-signed trade paperback. It's just for a fan of David Mack's, James Tynion IV's, and the Department of Truth, this is just a nice little thing for me to have. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. This video is definitely going to be the longest of the interviews videos that I did, the other interviews I was able to get through more quickly. But once again, I thank David Mack so much for his generosity, for sharing the information that he had, and also for his time as well. So stay tuned. I have 2 more interviews coming up. I hope you'll be willing to check them out. If you like this video, likes are appreciated by me. If you want to see more of my content, including the videos that I have coming, I would invite you to subscribe, but make sure you hit that notification bell. And as always, I thank you all so much for watching this video. I really, really do appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.